Hello, friends. Welcome back to Stylist Soul Tribe Conversations. I am joined today by Sarah Swift, a new friend of mine that I connected with. Again, a name and a face that I feel like I've seen around for years in the Thrivers community. But Sarah and I were sat at the same table at X Club Retreat. Similar, Michelle was just on my podcast, so similar to the conversation with Michelle. Sarah helps salon owner mamas desiring more time, integrating joy, and experiencing fulfillment in their lives and their businesses. I think this education venture that she is taking is a newer venture, so we're going to hear her story. And we were chatting at the retreat, and I was like, I would love to have you on my podcast. I would just love to connect more. I'd love to help kind of share your mission and shout it from the rooftops. And I told Sarah before we hit record, I just kind of want to hear her story and get to know her more. So that's what we're going to do today. Thanks for coming on today, Sarah.
Thanks for having me, Lisa. It was such a
Yeah.
joy actually meeting you at the table this year. I felt like it was so curated because I am a new educator and I also have heard your name, seen your face. It is a relatively small room, but just having the chance to connect with the few of you at my table that were educators this year was a
Yeah.
completely different
I
experience.
completely agree. I mean, Brooke Decker and I have been friends for years. She's one that is like so good at staying connected in the community. So I've known her for years. She's like feels like an OG thriver to me. Heather Opay is now in my Jumpstart program. I'm coaching her through rolling out kind of her coaching, which makes me so excited and so happy. She's already like getting the speed at which she moves. It's interesting when I have somebody new come in for coaching, just seeing how are they going to really need a lot of pushing, pulling, support, accountability, but she is just nose down doing the dang thing already. I just had Michelle Cook on the podcast. So yeah, we had a really good group. Shannon DeMont's been on my podcast before as well. So we had a really cool Tabitha. I don't think she's been on my podcast actually. So I need to do that. But yeah, we had a really good group and I agree, very curated. Last year I was with Shannon and Tabitha as well. It was nice having those newer faces at our table. And like I said, it just was really nice. You were there with your daughters. I even remember you stopping by our dinner table that one night. I can just tell the way you live your life is very intentional, and I'm excited to hear you talk about this venture that you're taking on because you can tell it's very much aligned action, and I can sense that and smell that and feel that. So let's get into it. Why don't you take us back however far feels appropriate? Some people go back to like cosmetology school, whatever feels. Give us a brief rundown of like kind of the big periods and timestamps of your life and your career, and then we'll kind of move into where we're at right now and how this has gotten created and what this is going to look like.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And stories do differ. I'm now 51, so my story goes back a little bit longer than most because I've been
Yeah,
in the industry now for 33 years. So it's
incredible.
over 3 decades.
Incredible.
And I'm a mother of three teenagers. I became a mother at pregnant with my first oldest daughter at the age of 30. So I started a little bit later. I had an infertility journey prior to that.
Wow.
So I think where I'll start,
Sorry, I am going to interrupt you 10,000 times. This is
yes,
my story. Was your daughter naturally conceived? Was she a product of IVF? I'm curious.
she was naturally conceived.
Wow.
And that's actually part of my story.
Wow.
So I do go into this, in my group because of
Yeah.
course my group is for salon owner moms. And
Yeah.
so when I go deep, I'm going deep with my private group so that people feel comfortable
Totally.
and so that we can share in a safe space where we know that what we're sharing stays in the group.
Totally.
I'm pretty open about this, and
Yeah.
so I'll share it as part of my story today. If it
Yeah.
can help somebody, I'm glad to do so. More details than that, I definitely go into in private spaces,
Okay.
but
Yeah, whatever
but
you
she,
feel comfortable
but
with.
yeah, but it was naturally. So for me, my journey in this industry and as a mother was
Hmm.
from a very young age, I wanted to be a mom. It
Yeah.
was just a desire I always had. I was always very nurturing. I just knew.
Yeah.
And I also had this creative aspect to me, started cutting my brother's hair, cutting my own hair, a
Yeah.
typical story of most of us, right?
Yeah.
That we just started doing things really young. And so I went into the industry right out of high school, went through it really fast. That is how I move. When I get an idea, I'm doing it. So that would be my statement. And I
Love.
think that's the thing that is consistent when I think about my story. When I make a decision, it's not, I'm going to try this and see if it
Yeah.
works out.
Yeah.
I'm doing this and
Yeah.
maybe it won't work out. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. but I'm going to do it.
We're cut from the
And
same cloth. I always say my like token phrase is fast, messy action because so many people get stuck in like the perfectionism that it never comes to fruition. That I'm
yeah.
like, just go clean it up as you go, but just start. I think momentum's so important. So we're definitely, yeah, similar in that way.
Well, and it's messy. I mean, my gosh, my story is messy, just like anybody's
Yeah,
story that actually gets something real built. It's not perfect. I
yeah,
mean, you have to try things, you have to see what you like, right?
totally. Yeah,
So I started out, I worked for a large salon with a really good training program. It was really far from my house. And I, at the time, was, dating my husband. We fell in love. I wanted to move closer to the salon. He did
yeah,
not.
yeah,
And so my story is this. Then I went back to work in the small town near where I live. I did work at a couple salons in that town. Very different experience than where I had started out. The way they did things, very
yeah.
different. Very different from what's aligned to me as
Okay.
well. And so always grateful for every opportunity, everybody that I ever meet. I think there's a lesson to be
Lesson.
learned.
Yep.
And, there's wonderful people along the way that stay with you too. So you
Totally.
never know what the benefits are. And if it's not aligned, then that's okay too.
Yeah.
So there was my journey. In my early 20s, I developed chemical sensitivity.
Okay.
So I was having really bad reactions
Yeah.
to hair color, which ironically was the thing that I always got complimented on. So, as we all know in the
Like that's what your
industry,
skills were good at was
that's
hair
where my
color.
skill
Yeah.
set is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, darn, the one thing that everybody says
Is
I'm really
finally
good
taking
at
off is yeah,
is
not
the
good for
thing
me.
that, yeah. And
Yeah.
just I wasn't wearing gloves and I was coloring my roots every 3 weeks and I was breathing it all in. And for me, it wasn't meant to be.
Totally.
And it wasn't aligned. So I had that journey. I had many health issues. I went through many modalities. So that started my wellness journey.
Wow.
And so I dove really deep into that around that time or shortly thereafter. And I had been trying other things. So I tried other things in our industry just to see, is this good? Do I like
Totally.
this?
Yeah.
They ultimately weren't aligned either. But again, I'm willing to try and I'm going to do it and I'm going to
Taste
dive in.
everything. Yeah.
I'm going to taste some things
Hmm.
that seem like they might work. I did have a couple other businesses I tried. They were actually successful, but ultimately not where my true desire was. So I was able to get pregnant and I went through a series of miscarriages, and that was really, really hard.
I
So
bet.
I really pulled back from the whole idea of it has to be all about work. For me, at that
Mhm.
point, it was all about my wellness. It was all
Yeah.
about I need to get healthy. And my desire in life, and it might not be everybody's, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I really want to be a mom.
Yeah.
And that's been in my heart forever.
Yeah.
So that's my
Well, and what good
focus.
is this career when like the personal stuff, the health? I mean, if you don't have that, then
Right.
you can't build anything on top of that foundation. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And I was just really open to the fact that this just might not be the career for me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't have what I would say would be a luxury
Hmm.
of having my spouse's income be what it needed to be to have me just completely pull out
Totally.
because he was in, well, he still is in a trade and he had several injuries.
Yeah.
He also went through the recession, so he was
Mm.
laid off. So when I had my oldest daughter, she was a toddler. My second daughter, I have three teenagers now,
Yeah.
was a baby. I left that salon. I took a chance. My
Yeah.
husband was laid off on this one income,
Yeah.
and I started my own business.
Wow.
I just knew I needed to curate my own schedule. I wasn't happy with
And
my
when you say you
schedule.
started your own business, did you open your own salon? Is that what you're saying?
My step one was not. My step
Okay.
one was renting a chair
Okay.
at,
Going in.
well,
Yep.
yeah, it was the first open concept booth rental salon in this small town.
Love.
So there was basically, from what I could see, not many
Yeah.
options. And so I did it. And I was surprised because I went in and I didn't know. I mean, it could have been a complete flop. And I was really busy. When I say busy, I was working 5 days a week, very full time,
Very burnt
very
out. Yep.
standard hours, like
Totally.
the hours that I think, I don't know if this is necessarily true of hairstylists going in now, but it was for me.
The old school
The
hairdresser
old,
out. Nights and
yeah,
weekends, totally. That's what we're trying
yeah,
to break
yep,
past, which I think we've made a lot of
right.
progress. But even when
Oh
I
yeah,
first got licensed, and I think even still, to people who aren't, kind of their eyes have been open to this other option, it does
yeah,
feel like service industry is just when everybody else who works a 9 to 5 is off. That's when we work. Yeah,
right.
totally.
And that, yeah, that is just what you did, right?
Yep.
And that was what was expected. I did see another option early on because the salon that I mentioned before that I started at, there was a very large salon. So they actually did have options.
Okay.
And their top stylist, she was amazing. She was the one you wanted to stand by.
Yeah.
She was actually trying to have her second baby and she curated her own hours completely.
Incredible. She was like
And
a unicorn back then of like, oh
she was a
dang, look what she's
unicorn.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Love.
mean, she really was. So I knew that it was possible. So I did that. I got pregnant with my son 6 months into this venture. So now
Wow.
I'm working extremely full time. I get pregnant with my son, having had infertility issues before, but my health had turned around. I had chose because this was another motivation. I aligned myself with distributors and products that would work for me.
Okay.
So I had that control,
Yep.
and that was huge.
Yeah.
And I won't go deep into that today, but wellness is definitely one of the really deep
Core
subjects that I
value of
talk about.
yours. Yeah.
Yeah, of me, I live the lifestyle. People will tell you that.
Yeah.
And it's in my experience course. We have a
Love.
whole section on it because I believe it's part of the experience of having a really
Yeah.
curated life. So, with that being said, I did that. I was really sick. I had a really hard delivery. A few years later, I decided that I was going to open my own salon. So, I was going to
Okay.
do the whole thing,
Yeah.
jacked up the cement floor, put my plumbing
Toddlers at
in,
home at this point.
it was just crazy.
Yeah. But your
So,
business, so
yeah.
even post maternity leave, your business withstood that. You were booked,
Oh, yeah.
busy, in demand. Things were
Yes.
going pretty good. Yeah.
They were going good.
Tired, I'm sure, but
I will say my health was constantly in a burnout cycle.
okay.
So this was because really my hero story transformation didn't happen until years later, where
Yeah.
I finally broke that cycle. So I was
Totally.
still going through that using modalities, doing things, but then I would crash again and burn again because it was just the constant push,
It
push,
wasn't a
push.
sustainable,
It wasn't
yeah,
sustainable. No.
model.
So,
Yeah.
no. So I did that and I was in the new salon space for about 5 years. But during all of this, what had happened also is I didn't have any business foundation.
Yeah.
So I left the salon that I was working for commission and I gave up a pay raise right before I was going to leave because I was scared. I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? I'm leaving and I don't want to take a pay raise now. I don't even know if anyone's going to follow me.
Yeah.
So I just did things very backwards,
Do you have
not
regrets
knowing.
looking back at that? Like, do you wish you would
Oh,
have done different?
lots.
Okay,
Oh my
hindsight's
goodness.
2020. Yeah.
Yes. And again, like this is something I dive really deep into. I have a very, very strong point of view
Yeah.
on this. And what I speak to is I have the experience in how you could do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so I have success when I did it the right way.
Yeah.
And so that's
People
what
could save a lot of time that it took for
oh
you to
my
learn
gosh.
that. Yeah.
Correct.
I
Yep.
see.
Part of my time experience.
Totally.
I wanted to save others, younger moms in our industry, the time so they don't have to go through all of this
Yeah.
and then just quote unquote waste their time.
Totally.
So, yeah, so now I am still behind the chair. I'm only behind the chair 2 days a week.
Awesome.
I'm in a different building now. I had an opportunity to move out of the building that I had been in for a very variety of reasons. It wasn't aligned anymore.
Yeah.
And I really niched down. So you and I are both in the X Club, and we both
Yeah.
have had some foundation education in the same group.
Yeah.
And so I definitely utilized that. But where my transformation came after that, because that was in 2020 for me.
Okay.
So it was, again the worst time. For me, it was actually my lowest income year
Mm.
for many, many years,
Wow.
probably dating back
And where are
decades.
you located again? Remind me.
I'm in West Bend, Wisconsin.
Okay.
That's where my business
Yep.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not far because
Yeah.
you're
You're
in,
Midwest with me. Yeah. I'm in
yeah,
Illinois. Okay.
Midwest. Yeah. So I joined the program,
Mm.
learned my business skills, I went from paper books, no website, you name it.
Totally.
Again, I said, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I did. And I met my core group of ladies and they helped me.
Love
And
that.
when you push me, I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
so that's what they always joke about. They're like, Sarah just puts her head down. She gets the work done and then it's just done.
Yeah.
And so they joke now, they're like, you're starting a podcast. Wait a minute, you have a whole like guided experience course.
Yeah.
You didn't even know how to copy and paste when we met you. How
That's
is
so
this even
funny.
possible?
Yeah.
I'm like, anything's possible. If you have a desire in you and you're willing to learn,
Yeah.
anything's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you can set the bar wherever, you desire it to be. That's
Yeah.
really what I think. So, I guess the last part of my story is after COVID, again, my business really was doing well. I made a lot of changes. There was a tragedy. So, my father died very unexpectedly
Sorry
in
to
a
hear that.
tragic accident.
Mm.
Yeah, and that started my deep dive into what I now speak to. I wish this would have been done from the beginning.
Yeah.
It is the core basic of everybody's foundation in order to do things really well and aligned, in my opinion.
Okay.
Um, so I dove deep, and that's where my focus was. And I did that for several years.
Dove deep in what? What do you mean when you say that?
So I dove deep into where my resistance
Mm.
was laying and
Yeah.
what cycles I continued.
Okay.
So I really
Just you feel
dove
like
deep.
that perspective of that tragedy really like brought that out?
It brought it out because
Yeah.
it just brought out a lot. And I have always been very spiritual. So it was a very big spiritual component in
Totally.
there as well. And I really went deep into my why.
Yeah.
What is my vision and what is my why? And what is my why
Yeah.
specifically? Not what everyone around me is doing, not
Totally.
what I'm told I should be doing,
Yeah.
but what's deep inside of me? What's
Yeah.
my actual desire? Because once you align that, everything changes.
Yeah.
Because when you live your life trying to please everybody else, you just get exhausted.
Yeah.
And if it's not aligned to what you're actually here to do and what God's plan is for you,
Yeah.
it's never going to feel right.
Totally.
And it didn't for me.
Yeah.
And so I dove deep into that. And 2 years later, I started waking up on my own, like at the crack of dawn. Now,
Yeah.
you're talking about a woman who used to work, crazy hours. I was up really late.
Mhm.
I was snoozed twice at least.
Yeah.
Didn't like getting up, did it because, of
Totally.
course, I'm a doer, so I
Clients are
will do
waiting.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my kids are crying. They need to be
Uh-huh.
fed, all the stages of motherhood too.
Yeah.
And I just started waking up. So I had my early mornings to myself in the
That's a
dark.
big thing for me too. I feel you. Yeah.
Huge.
I mean,
It
it's
started
such a
your day.
simple thing, but you hear it so many times when people have this like major transformation or this major shift or this major. And I hate telling it to people because you can tell there's just some people that like that doesn't land with them, that doesn't stick with them.
Yeah.
But like that is also my experience as well. Like I had a true like spiritual awakening, and those morning hours are like my, I don't even know the right word, fueling station, recharge, grounding, centering, connection to source. Like, I mean, it is that profound
Yes.
for me as well. Yeah,
Yeah. And you would agree then.
absolutely.
There's nothing to describe it until you do it. And this is really important to me. I'm going to be actually doing a workshop on this
Yeah,
coming
pop
up
off.
soon. Just really basic
Uh huh.
on 3 steps on how you can start. I mean, it doesn't need to be an hour and a
Yeah,
half, 2 hours.
totally.
It can be, and I love
Well,
having it that
once you
way.
get so hopped up on it, you crave that.
Right.
But in the
You
beginning,
crave
you're
it.
just like, well, now I'm up and I'm tired and the dog's up, and why did I
Right.
do this? Yeah.
Yeah, just like you said, just that grounding and
Yeah.
it's when I meditate, it's when I
Yeah.
journal. It's really
Yep.
when the thoughts come to me
Same.
that I set the intention for my day.
Yeah.
And it starts before my feet even get out of bed.
Yeah.
So my intention is set. I mean, I'm froggy, mind you,
Totally.
but my intention is set and then I get up. So this started and I didn't know what the heck was going on. Honestly, I'm like, is this part of menopause? Because I'm not
Yeah.
even in menopause yet, but
Yeah.
now I'm in my late 40s at this point. So I'm like, I don't know what this is. This
Yeah.
has never been me, but it's great and I love
Yeah.
it. So this went on. A few months later, I had the opportunity to join a learning system that, again, that's what I do. When I decide I'm going to do something, I'm going
You're a
to
student, you
invest. I'm a
imply,
student.
yeah,
Yep. I'm
totally.
going to pay for it. Like I'm going to
Yeah,
get a guide that's going to show me.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to doing freebie sessions, mind you, if I want to just see if I'm interested. But once I'm
But you
interested
knew
and
this was
I'm
the
doing
next
it,
major move to
oh, this is it.
for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I've there's been a few major mentors in my life that I've bounced from one to the other, and my gut and my soul knows when it's kind of time and it's craving something new and a transition. But I am also a product of the mentorship that I've had. So yeah, I agree with that.
I can tell, Lisa. You know, in talking to you at X Club too, I can tell, and that's something that I felt aligned with you in that regard
Yeah,
because I'm naturally, I could think an investigator. I like knowledge,
yeah,
but I don't like it when I have so much knowledge that now I'm not in action
yeah. You're
because
paralyzed.
I'm paralyzed. And
Totally.
so, yeah, so I built my course and I didn't even think about podcast at that point because I was
Yeah,
doing one step at a time, one messy
totally.
step at a time,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And everybody around me is like, well, when are you going to launch? What are you doing? And,
Yeah.
just not thinking I was crazy, but, again, I had a really good thing going
Yeah.
with my curated salon business and still
Yeah.
do. And I love it. And that's
Totally.
wonderful. And I love it. But I was desiring this other
Yeah.
thing and
Yeah.
I was following God's whisper and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And it was kind of odd and bizarre to me, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with it because
Totally.
I believe in this. I won't go deep into this because it's still pretty fresh, but we had another tragedy at the end of that same year
Mm-hmm.
involving one of my children,
Mm.
and it is a major tragedy. And so everything halted.
Yeah.
So it was at the very end of 2024. So all of 2025 was about that.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful that the salon system that I had built
Yeah.
was able to continue to go and I was
Sustain.
able
Yeah.
to sustain. And that's what I was doing. I was sustaining and I had a communication preference set up that
Yeah.
worked for me.
Totally.
And I was able to do what I needed to do. And I think that's the other beautiful part about having a business and especially specializing because I am very, very niche and I believe in that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that a new stylist should start out that way,
Totally.
but I think when you find your gifts and you really hone in on what they are, and
Yeah.
for me, that is what I'm doing. And now I'm utilizing a new gift that I feel
Yeah.
like I have to share. But 2025 was about that.
Yeah.
And we are still doing that, mind you, but it was really intense in 2025.
Mm.
So that was my year. And now I'm back to, again, this new business called Time and the Integrative Mother Experience. And I'm really excited about it. I launched my podcast in February
Awesome.
and I'm super excited to be a guest on your show. I just can't wait to have more conversations like
Yeah.
this, with beautiful people in our industry like yourself.
Yeah.
It's just, this is what feeds my soul
Love.
is the conversations.
Totally.
Honestly, this is what I could do this all day long. It's
Same.
just so, I don't know.
I
It's
agree.
so heartfelt.
I
Yeah.
agree. And I'm glad that you still have your business and you've gotten it to a place where it's a well oiled machine. I'm the same. It's shrunk more and more intentionally throughout the years just
Yeah.
because Soul Tribe has taken more and more time and energy. And
Yeah.
that's been, again, all the while very intuitively led, very intentional, very just following what feels right in my heart and my soul. And I'm the same as you. Those morning check ins are kind of where I get those nudges and those pulls and those confirmations or those itches or whatever. So I love that you have that. Tell us, what is the integrative mother experience? I know it's kind of dropped in. It's definitely, I call Big Magic. Have you read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert?
No.
Okay, life-changing book. I'm gonna be real quick on it. And everybody who reads it
Okay.
gets a different perspective, but I read it in
Okay.
2018, the year that Stylist Soul Tribe dropped into me. The way Elizabeth Gilbert talks about big magic is what she calls it, big
Okay.
magic ideas,
Write this
is
down.
that, yeah, ideas float around the ether and
Okay.
they're energy, and that's what they do. And they float around the ether and they will find a host, and you're the host.
Okay.
And when it's a big magic idea, because ideas come and go, right? You'll have have them
Yeah.
pop in. You're
Oh,
like,
for
oh, that's
sure.
not for me. That's for someone
Yeah.
else. I'll
Yep.
let that one go. That's not for me. But
Hmm.
sometimes they come in and like it makes the hair on your neck, back of your neck stand up, and it's like a
Yeah.
download, like a
Yep.
universal
Oh,
download of
yeah.
like, oh, it is my job. And so the idea's purpose, this energy, is for a host to bring it to life. And when you get this, experience with this idea, you get to decide, do I want to sign a contract with the universe? Is basically what it says. We're like, I'm going to
Yeah.
see this all the way through. I am the person to bring this to life. And as I was reading that book, Style Soul Tribe dropped in for me, and this was in 2018.
Oh,
And the way that Elizabeth Gilbert explains that, and really it's a book about creativity, is what it is, because that's how
okay.
anybody creates anything, right? It
Yeah.
starts as an idea, you
Hmm.
decide to go all the way through, it gets hard, it gets messy. A lot of the times you can give up and let it go,
Yep.
but the people who create something really meaningful and impactful don't give that up. When
Yeah.
things get hard, they really have that like deep internal pull. And so just the way that when I read that book, the way, I mean, I was, my frontal lobe was developing at that time. I just feel like it was a very pivotal time in my life that I still haven't lost that initial pull from
Wow.
7 years ago. It still is like, I have a contract, this is mine to fulfill. And so I'm the same as you. These conversations mean so much to me. And it used to feel like, I remember in the beginning, and I'm assuming you can relate to this, tell me your thoughts, when I first started really like getting my groove in hair and like turning people around, and the transformation and these like impactful
Hmm.
conversations, like, oh my, it was like a drug, it was like a high, it was like, oh, this is so good,
Yeah.
like I'm obsessed with this. And for me, it didn't take super duper long for that to lose its oomph, where eventually I wanted an impact that was a little bit bigger than just hair that grows out.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what I'm hearing from you. And of course, we have
Oh,
really
yeah.
meaningful conversations with our clients behind the chair, but like I found that these conversations that we're having today, the conversations that I have behind the scenes inside of my coaching program, like that is unlike anything else that I can find, of just that impact and that like, oof, it feels
Hmm.
good going to bed at night, because that is just next level. So I'm assuming, again, I think we're cut from the same cloth. You kind of, once you see
Yeah.
someone like that, you're like, oh, you have it. I
Yeah.
know what that is.
Yeah. One of us.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I can totally relate. So really, yeah, what is the integrative mother experience? Explain that kind of top to bottom, and how that, if you would relate to that big magic
Sure.
thought process, how that dropped in, what you have created from that.
Yeah, I love to see your excitement, by the
Yeah.
way. And then your soul tribe in the background.
Uh-huh.
It's just so perfect. And so I just want to say, I just want to acknowledge that because, I mean, you're at 7 years, so you could say this would be the 7 year itch for some people.
Yeah.
You are all in, and I can tell.
Yeah.
For me, it was like a whisper that I felt, and it was within, I think, 24 hours. It was right after. So I had this weird whisper of doing something, and I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be. And so I saw an advertisement for, again, it was, something that was led how you could create
Yeah.
essentially something.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be a guided course experience. It could be one of many things, but that was one option. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to start with this idea. I'll just see. And then it just ended up being what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, what it is it's an experience that I guide the moms in my group with.
Yeah.
And I'm all about deep impact as well. So for
Mhm.
me, and this is how, I don't know if you've heard of human design,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit, I would say, newer to some people very close to me that know a lot about it. And
Yeah.
so,
I'm
they've dove
definitely
in a
no
little.
expert. I know what I am, but
Yeah,
I
me too.
don't follow it super closely. To me, it's like Enneagram, astrology. Like I kind of,
Yeah.
Enneagram is probably the one I know the most, but still I'm not an
Oh, okay.
expert. Yeah.
I think I know that one the least, but somebody I've met along the way recently has helped me to understand my design, and it
Yeah.
makes complete sense. Like I can actually
So what
now
are you?
completely understand. So I actually have her description next to me. So I'm a 5-1 emotional projector, but then I have a left angle cross of observation too. And
Okay.
what's really interesting with that is that I love depth and mastery. And I'm like, yep,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
me. Because if I
It's
decide
sounding
I'm going to
like
do
it.
something, I
Uh-huh.
really want to dive in. And that's just part of it. The emotional, for sure. Anyone that knows me knows I get very emotionally involved. And if someone's aligned to me,
Yeah.
I'm really all in.
Yeah.
And I can feel unalignment as well.
Totally.
And so now I'm able to really, in my new business and in my existing business, if somebody's not aligned to work with me,
Yeah.
that is fine. Like I'm good with that. I am not for everyone.
Yeah.
And I really feel like that's where people get the most value in life is when they
Mhm.
are working with someone that is their person or their
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And then I tend to, my frequency is deep impact. So surprise,
Okay.
surprise.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, again, I'm following this whisper,
Yeah.
literally doing all these steps as they're coming to me.
Yeah.
And I do have a vision for sure, but I don't know how the vision, how the end result is going to be exactly
You
because
don't
I
have an
don't need to
attachment to the
know.
control.
I do
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
No.
Like you know where it is that you're heading and that is
Yeah,
clear,
I
but
do.
like it's not your job to force it or figure it out. And it's
No.
this or something better, right? If something else comes across your path, that's out of your control. Yeah.
Right.
I think
Well,
that's
like
a
I said,
beautiful
I
way
mean,
to
a
live.
podcast wasn't even at all in the summer of 2024. That
Yeah.
wasn't even on the list. So that's part of me. So they call it the investigator. I'm like, yep, that was me. I was
Yeah.
always like, school came really easy to me.
Yeah.
So, during the years in high school when maybe I wanted to have a little bit more fun than study, I still got really good grades
Totally.
just because it wasn't something that I had to work super hard
It's in
at.
your design. Yeah.
It's in my design. And then this one I think is really cool too, because I can see it, is my leadership comes from seeing what others don't and then offering insight when I'm invited.
Love.
And that I've really felt in all my entire life. It's like I have these thoughts and I
Yeah.
can see things, and it is part of my human design makeup. But part of it is just waiting for somebody to ask instead of
Totally.
just projecting it out and, here's my advice and
Yeah.
preaching. Like that doesn't land
Yeah.
with the way that so I tend to be a
Totally.
little bit more quiet settings where I feel like people aren't ready to hear what I need to say.
Yeah.
And then when they are, I'm like, okay, here it is.
Yeah. It's go time.
Now
Uh-huh.
let's go deep.
Yeah.
Let's go really deep because I'm not here to impress.
Love.
I'm here to have deep conversations and nobody needs to notice me. That's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here to meet the people I'm here to meet because
Mhm.
that's what God sent me to do.
To make the impact. Yeah.
So that's a little bit about that. But to answer your original question about my guided experience course, so I have 5 components to it, and I dive really deep with them.
Yeah.
The first one is, and it's all spirit led also.
Okay.
So each section has a spirit led component to it. So the first one, spirit led, is with the gift of knowledge, and it's setting clear boundaries. So it's with your ideas and your desire and having that harmony because without having boundaries, now we're just trying to please everybody.
Yeah.
And now you're not really having impact on anybody
Yeah.
and most of all yourself. Because
Yeah.
if you keep giving and giving and giving, your cup is never getting filled.
Yeah.
And then you're not feeling fulfilled. People can
Totally.
feel it. So this is where I start. The second is avoiding burnout, which I mentioned before. I lived that cycle for
Yeah.
most of my life.
Yeah.
So my true transformation came a few years ago and I am now 51. So I had the cycle. I understand it. This is coming from the spiritual gift of counsel, and it's based on your inner knowing, your choices, and simplicity.
Love.
So now instead of having all these things, let's focus on what you're here to do, what you're
Totally.
good at, and what fills you up.
Yeah.
Then I move on to wellness, which I have a lot of experience in with my multiple health issues that I had, again, starting in my 20s and then my infertility journey to having children and then some of the things along the way with my pregnancies that were
Yeah.
really scary and left me with things that I've overcome now, but they were
Mm-hmm.
very difficult and I ignored them also for years because I
Yeah.
kept pushing behind the chair.
Yeah.
So we go into the wellness with a gift of understanding, releasing and renewing,
Mm.
and then being able to receive. Because if you
Love.
can't receive and you're just giving,
Mm-hmm.
forget about your well being and your wellness.
Totally.
It's not happening, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just not.
And so many people are trained and hardwired and ingrained and have had that blocked for so long,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ability to receive. So I love that that's the final stage of this.
Well,
Incredible.
that's step 3. And I think
Oh,
women especially, there's 2 more.
okay.
Then there's the gift of courage. And this
Okay.
is about surrender and sitting in stillness.
Mm.
So remember our mornings we talked
Yeah.
about. I'm speaking to conscious time
Mm.
in this section.
Yeah.
So that's a whole separate subject. We go pretty deep with that. And then it ends with the end of, the transformation is when you have the gift of wisdom.
Mm,
And so this is when your experiences are enhanced.
yeah.
So you're feeling joy and fulfillment more often on a daily basis because you're noticing it and you're allowing it. You're receiving it to come in. You're not waiting to be on the island of Hawaii
Yeah.
to be able to enjoy life.
Totally.
You can be wherever you are
Yeah.
and you can have it every day because it's always there.
Create your own
You're just
Hawaii. Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
not
Your own
noticing
heaven on
it.
earth.
So,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah. So
Love.
so that's what I speak to. That's what my experienced guided course is all
Did
about.
that take you a lot of time to put that together, or was
Oh
that
my
kind of
gosh,
like a
yeah.
download where it just came to you?
Well, okay, so it's interesting. So it took me a long time to put like the pieces together because I can be a little bit perfectionistic, like
Uh-huh.
in those regards,
Yeah.
but the download came really quickly.
Okay.
And
Like
what I thought
the
was really,
framework. Yeah, the
oh
outline.
yeah, like the,
Yeah.
the framework. And that's actually what I refer to it as.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I'll read books or somebody will tell me a book and I'll be like, that's really weird because that's what I already speak to, but I had
Totally.
never heard it from anybody
Yeah.
before. It came here.
Yeah.
And so that has happened to me multiple times in the last year and a half,
Totally.
which is this had already been built. Like
Yeah.
this was basically done. I did my recordings and I love like doing things live now. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of my new jam. But like I said, I took a huge pause because of what was going on
Yeah.
in our life with my child.
Yeah.
And I was being very present and there was no choice. But
Yeah.
then I just find it so interesting. So I can't wait to read the book that you told me because I'm sure I'll see nuggets in there.
Totally. Well, and give
Um,
it a read. And some people read it and it doesn't click the same way it does for them or for me as it does for them. And honestly, I think it was almost like the time that I read it. You
yeah.
just are available for messages from different
Yeah.
messengers at different times. So yeah, I'd be, but Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert is a hands down, just you gotta add it to your list. I feel like most people who have read it would agree with that. Love, love, love. Okay, a few things we were gonna get into that I think we're good on time that I wanna unpack here. Multiple roles, especially for mothers in the beauty industry, and how that commonly creates overwhelm and chronic stress issues. So you told us a little bit about your story, but I guess tell us more of like what you've seen in others and why you feel this pull in to support them, or like what kind of somebody listening to this who is a
Yeah.
stylist or salon
Yep.
owner in that. Unpack that a little bit.
Yeah. And truly, this can really be for any business owner, especially in the service industry,
Yeah.
because what I'm speaking to is having so much on your plate. And I think the word balancing is
Mm-hmm.
so common.
Yeah.
And I think when you have true balance, that's a different conversation. But the fact that most people are referring to it as you should balance everything.
Yeah.
So it's different. That term I don't like.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of women get tripped up because, especially in the service industries and in our industry specifically, what I see and what I have lived myself and I continue to see is that the expectation is you can do it all and you
Yeah.
should do it all. And that is normal.
Mm-hmm.
And you should just keep giving to depletion.
Mm.
And then the cycles just continue.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody really is fixing the issues. It's acknowledged, it's kind of laughed at.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would speak to a lot of stylists that I know that aren't really maybe working on some of these things, so to speak, which
Yeah.
is most,
Totally.
they would just say, well, yeah, that's just part of being a hairstylist. That's
Yeah.
part of being a salon owner.
Yeah.
That, in fact, is even just part of being a working mom.
Yeah.
I just don't buy it.
It's
I
the
just don't,
stories we tell ourselves,
yeah, I don't
right?
buy
Like,
it.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't buy that that's what we have to
Well, and you
accept.
don't buy it because you've seen a different way and you can feel how much better it feels and you can see that and have that hindsight and that experience. And I agree. I don't buy it either. I'm sure there's other industries as well, but I am so partial to this industry. Like, and I know a lot of us, like, I don't know, when we said we were going to go to cosmetology school, everybody's story is different, but sometimes that's like, oh, I'm going to look, you're going to be a hairdresser, like what the statistic is of what
Yeah,
our
yeah.
stylists make. But like, really, when you get to stop and think about it, and I get this awesome perspective of getting to see so many successful stylists, salon owners, estheticians, whatever, beauty pros, this industry genuinely gives us like the most time freedom you could ever have, the most money freedom you could ever have if you know how to work it right. And what it really all boils down to is just intention and choice and deciding that that's not a story that I'm going to carry and keep as my truth for my entire career and my whole life, because it is that simple. You can either be like, yeah, I subscribe to that, or no, I don't. Here's others that have proven that it doesn't have to be that way. Let me be open-minded and learn from them, rather than the that deep ingrained story that we hear passed down generation after generation.
Yeah. And what we have modeled. Because for me, at my age, the quote unquote successful stylists were the ones that were grinding. So most of them, maybe with the exception of the one woman I shared earlier, she was truly just an exception,
Yeah.
a pioneer in her own time. But all of the other ones that were actually, if you would say, successful,
Yeah.
which I think in most people's terms of career success, it's how much money do you make?
Totally.
They were living terrible lifestyles,
Yeah.
very unhealthy, very unaligned to their
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
hours that they personally wouldn't have chose.
Totally.
And could they make a lot of money? I mean, in most industries, if you're not salary capped, you can,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that they were living, an aligned life for that
Yeah.
money that they were earning.
Yeah.
And then most struggling, of course, our
Totally.
industry standard. I was
Yeah.
told by my guidance counselor in high school, why do you even want to do this? Like, he
Yeah.
couldn't believe that was what
Yeah.
I was choosing,
Yeah.
especially with my grades being what they were. He's like, do you know
Mm.
what the industry's like? He showed me.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I'm like, that's not going to be me. And, unfortunately, in my ebbs and flows, when I was really unaligned, I would really dip. And I could see why the industry standard was so low,
Yeah.
because the business education behind it and the
Yeah.
discounting and how people perceive us and
Mm-hmm.
how, as an industry stylist, perceive themselves.
Totally.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to it.
But I think as a whole, throughout time, even just in the 15 years that I've been licensed, I've seen that perception, I think, is evolving, which is great to see.
I hope so.
At least to me, it seems that way.
I hope so.
I think Brit has been a big part of that. I think people like you and I are that are living proof of it has helped with that. But yeah, from my perspective, I think it seems like a more respected career now than it even was just 15 years ago, because it really is incredible what people can do. I have people in my community that work 2 days a week, 6 hour days, and make more than doctors. Like, it is wild what you can do. So yeah, I'm very passionate and very obsessed and madly in love with this industry. And I can talk about that all day. Incredible. Okay, so the time method experience. You launched the podcast back in February. If somebody wanted to learn more or participate in that, is there a launch coming up? How do people get in touch with you? What does this look like?
So the first thing is going to my website, which is just theintegrativemotherexperience.com.
And I'll have that linked in the show notes.
Yep. You can follow me on Instagram, and that's just Time with Sarah Swift. I am going to be having a workshop coming up, but I am available now. They can go to my website. They can
Yeah,
start working with me in the framework today.
anytime.
They're going to get a lot of one-on-one right now. Doing my next guided experience after the kids go back to school.
Awesome.
So in early September.
Nice.
So that is coming up as well. But you don't have to wait if this is, if there's a calling on someone's heart, or they're just interested in maybe even having a quick call with me just to see if it might be something they're interested in. I'm
Start that
available by,
conversation. Yeah.
they can start it by DMing me. They can
Awesome.
definitely go to my website. I encourage everybody that's interested just to join my free private group, which they can apply right on my website, because that's just a good place to start. And then they are going to get all the information first.
Love.
That's the first place where I'm going to put any free experiences. Like this past winter, I did a free experience for the moms in my group, and it was really fun. And so that's where you're going to get things like that. And then you're going to get the knowledge of the next thing that I'm offering. So those are the
Love.
stepping stones.
And ideally, these are salon owners that are also mothers, right? That is who
Correct.
your jam really
Yes.
is speaking to.
Yes,
Love.
that's who I'm really speaking to. Again, if you're in a service industry and you're a business owner,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a salon owner, but that is definitely more of my
What the
specialty.
conversation will be
But
focused around. Yeah.
there are moms actually in my private community that are not hairstylists. So
Okay.
I think being in a service industry is really helpful just
Yeah,
to
I
understand.
agree. It's not
Yeah,
like you're teaching technical education. At the end of the day, if you're in a
right.
service
No,
industry, that's what I say. We're not talking
correct.
about how to cut hair. It doesn't matter if you're an
Correct.
esthetician, a nail tech.
Yes.
Honestly, even like photographers, I don't have any in my group, but like I'll connect with these other women
Mhm.
entrepreneur. It's all the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I agree.
agree. Yeah. And it's just the women, the moms that just have too much on their plate and they are trying to balance because
Yeah,
what I'm speaking to is I don't want you to balance it all.
totally.
That's not what I'm speaking to. I'm talking about integrating.
Mm,
So when you're integrating, you get to choose. You're not missing out because you're curating your life because you have the parts that are part of your life, which in
yeah,
this case is your career and being a mom, and you're integrating them so that you have the type of life that you want, that it's
yeah,
fulfilling and you're getting joy out of it.
yeah.
And you're not going to look back someday and regret
Uh,
what you're missing out on.
Yeah, it's
And
so important. It's so important. I love that you are following that calling, and I look forward to seeing how this progresses. You're going back to Utah in June, right? Well, I see you there.
I for sure
So
yes, I
hopefully
can't
we're at the
wait.
same table again and
Yes,
we
I
can
hope so.
unpack what happened in the last year. Thank you so much for coming on, Sarah. I will have everything, all Sarah's Instagram, website, all the things linked in the show notes. So if you want to connect with her, if any part of this conversation really landed with you, shoot her a DM, shoot me a DM. That's why we love to just have these conversations, put them out there for people because it's important. And like us, mentorship has been huge and we have the calling on our hearts to help serve other people. And it just starts with a conversation. So thank you again for coming on. And thank you everybody for listening to this episode. And I will talk to you all in the next one.